Hey, friends! Just so you know, we enjoy the swear word and we rely on good old fashioned humor to get through some seriously dark subject matter. At no time do we intend any disrespect toward the victims or families of the victims in the cases we cover. Also, be sure to listen to the end for a few palate cleansing bloopers to reset your mindset. And with that, we thank you for listening and we hope you enjoy. Hey, friends! Welcome to Crime Will Tell. I'm Carrie.
And I'm Jamie.
How are you doing this fine evening?
I am doing pretty well. Yourself?
Good. We've got our Crime Will Tell rocks glasses full of tasty bourbon. Hopefully, I can do this right. Tonight, I'm sipping on Amos and J. Lac Bay Errol Bay.
Okay.
Did I do that right? I think I got it.
Yeah.
I think I
Jameson
nailed
Black
it.
Barrel. Yeah.
Nailed it. And what are you drinking?
Okay, so I have to brag for a hot sec because tomorrow's my birthday and
Yeah, it
my
is.
awesome girlfriend got me, because I love old fashions, I love bourbon. She got me this like ultimate old fashioned kit that comes with everything you need for old fashions and then like, I don't know, 8 or 9 different bottles of bourbons. So I was trying one, and this is BSB 103, or maybe it's just BSB. I don't know, but it is a brown sugar bourbon.
Oh,
It's got like a little almost like fireball, like cinnamony
mm,
taste to it, but
yummy.
not bad. And thank you, Patty. You're the best.
Happy early birthday to you.
Thanks. It is what it
The
is.
fucking day.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, if you've got one out there, drink up.
Yep.
Cheers.
Cheers. Clink.
Clink.
See ya.
This case that we're talking about tonight was recommended by my coworker and podcast fan, Aria.
Okay.
Hala, Aria. I am not going to
Hey.
attempt to say your last name because I practice it, and I just don't know that I'm going to actually make any real strides in
Okay.
pronouncing it appropriately. So
Aria it is.
Aria.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So what's cool is that Aria and I will get into like philosophical conversations, and I really like that. So today, so he recommended this case, and today we're talking about the case of Ali Abulaban.
Okay.
Now, this case received a fair amount of media attention in late 2021,
Okay.
but since then, it's been relatively quiet. I imagine it was probably because Ali's public defender or lawyer was like, shut the hell up. So,
Hmm.
and there's reason for that because he was pretty popular on social media.
Ah, okay.
This case is about him killing his wife and her friend.
Oh, shit.
This occurred in October of 2021. It's been quiet ever since then. It garnered a lot of headlines and a lot of chatter back then. But in May of this year, he went on trial. And on May 24th, he was convicted of murdering his wife Anna and her friend Rayburn Barron.
Damn. Okay.
He is set to be sentenced on Friday, June 28th. So today is Saturday, June 22nd. We're recording this.
So next
And
week.
he's set,
Shit.
yeah, next week he's set to be sentenced. He faces life in prison without the possibility of parole. So he faces up to life in prison without the
Hmm.
possibility of parole. So we don't know the outcome just yet. I'm really eager to hear if he is sentenced next Friday. I mean, knowing the court systems here in the United States, it could get delayed. But hopefully, we'll have an update
Yeah.
sometime next week or the week after. So, Ali Nassar Abulaban, he was born May 18th, 1992, in Staten Island, New York. So he's a baby.
Yeah, he
He's
is.
32 now. His mother, Dalal, great name, Dalal Wara, was born in 1977. So if you do the math, she was only 15 years old when she gave birth to Ali.
Man.
Ali's father, Nassar Ali Abulaban, was born in 1964.
More fun math. Jesus
So
Christ.
he was 28 when Allie was born.
I don't like
So right from
that.
the jump, we have pedophile behavior and sexual assault of a minor, resulting in the pregnancy and birth of Allie.
Yeah.
So those were the circumstances by which he entered this world. Now,
Yeah.
Dalal and Nassar are from a different culture. They're Muslim. And I don't know much about the Muslim culture, but I think it's not unusual for women to marry and have children very young. I don't know if anybody's listening and you're very familiar with Middle Eastern cultures and practices, give a shout and let me know. Being born and raised in the United States, I find this appalling that a
Yeah.
28-year-old man was cavorting with a very young child, honestly, if we're to be honest,
Yeah.
such that by the age of 15, she gave birth to a child.
Right.
So I'm struggling with that one a little bit, but
Being ignorant to that, I assume that there may be the possibility that it was arranged also.
yeah, I had thought about that too. I know that arranged marriages still occur around the world,
Hmm.
but that's all I know.
Yeah.
I have very little knowledge, if any. Let's be real. I don't have any knowledge about the Middle Eastern cultures. Dalal and Nassar, they went on to have two more children within the next 3 years. So they had Zanub, great name. These names are just great. Zanub, a daughter born in 1994, so 2 years younger than Ali, and Sammy, a son born in 1995.
Okay.
So by the time Dalal was 19 years old, she had three children under the age of 5.
Oh my God.
19, three children. I was not remotely responsible at 19. Like, I couldn't even take care of myself, let
Yeah.
alone three human lives.
Shit.
Yeah. Later in 2002, Dalal and Nassar had another daughter. Her name was Shireen.
Okay.
All in, there's four children. There's Ali, and then his brother Sammy, and his two sisters, Zanub and Shireen.
Okay.
Growing up, it was clear that Ali had some mental health challenges. He basically on the regular had like angry outbursts, angry behavior, lashing out, stuff like that, like an inability to manage his emotions or verbalize his emotions in a
Hmm.
constructive way. By the time he was 14 years old, he was diagnosed with ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, which certainly helped explain some of his hyper and moody behavior. But it was clear to the physician that treated Ali and diagnosed him with having ADHD that there were some other things Ali was struggling with. And he shared this with Ali's parents, Dalal and Nassar. And he's like, hey, you need to probably have a mental health evaluation on this kid because I think he's got some more stuff going on.
Hmm. Okay.
Ali's father, Nassar, didn't like the fact that Ali was struggling with mental health stuff. He
Hmm.
felt like, well, I shouldn't say I know how Nassar felt. From my research, I deduced
Okay.
that Nassar saw it as a sign of weakness.
Yeah.
And in fact, at one point, he basically told Ali that he is dumb like his mom. And he ended up throwing away his ADHD medication.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So that's just a little snippet into. So Nassar was very strict. He was very controlling. He was the master of the house. You did what he said. You didn't cross him, but you basically didn't have to do anything to cross him. He was just an angry, violent man.
Mm.
And he verbally and physically abused Dalal all the time in front of Ali and his siblings.
Mm.
All the time. So they grew up watching his father beat the shit out of his mom, and they grew up watching him being Nassar, talk terribly to his mom and to all of them.
Wow.
Now, Ali would say later during his trial that Nassar, his father, told him that Sammy, Ali's little brother, was the golden boy and that Ali was nothing.
Jeez.
By the time Allie was a teenager, he was often getting into physical confrontations with his father too, because it would escalate so quickly into violence.
Damn.
And this is the environment he was raised in. This is the way that Allie learned to treat others and to treat women. According to a Fox 5 KUSI San Diego news article dated May 20th, 2024, Dalal recalls a particular incident between Allie and his father. Now, when she's recalling this incident, she's actually on the stand testifying in Allie's trial.
Okay.
So she recalled that one time Allie was at home playing Guitar Hero. So it's a video game. I don't remember which console, irrelevant, but it comes with a guitar, like a
Yeah.
pretty sizable hard plastic guitar.
Yeah.
And his father was pissed off about something and he walked into the room. He like yanked the guitar out of Allie's hands and he broke the guitar over his head.
Jesus.
So that was one incident. Dalal recounted that regularly Nassar would just berate Allie. He would just say things like, "You're a loser," or "I'm sick of you," which kind of breaks my heart because,
Yeah. You don't. Mm.
I mean, as a kid, that sucks. I
Yeah.
can't even imagine what it would be like to have my father tell me that he's sick of me or that I'm a loser.
Right.
Now, as a kid, Allie learned that making people laugh was a talent he had. And he also learned that making people laugh made him feel good. And it
Hmm.
helped because he was picked on and bullied in school a lot. So this comedic talent he had, it really served to deflect and protect. He
Right.
could, pull distraction or whatever. It didn't stop the bullying. It didn't stop the being picked on behavior, but of other kids. But it did help a little bit to protect him, kind of
Yeah.
shield him because he relied on comedy. He relied on joking and humor.
Yeah. I think that's why so many comedians are gay,
Mm,
because you just learn to kind of make fun of
right.
yourself before anybody else does.
Gosh, I never even thought of that.
That's just my theory, but whatever.
Yeah, it's a good theory.
Thanks.
But this bullying that Allie was subjected to at school made him not want to be in school, obviously, and so he would often skip classes,
Mm.
and eventually he was skipping so much that he had to drop out of regular public high school and attend New Dimensions Alternative School, where he was able to graduate with a high school diploma.
Wow.
So
Okay.
that's good.
Yeah.
Um, Ali went on to attend a community college primarily because his dad, Nassar, said, "You will go to this community college." College isn't for everyone, but this is what Nassar wanted Ali to do. So Ali attended one semester of a community college and then he ended up dropping out and he enlisted in the Air Force, which is a
Oh.
military branch here in the United States. And he was sent to San Antonio for basic training. And this decision to enlist in the military made Dalal quite happy. She was like, yeah, the military will be good for him, give him an opportunity to learn the discipline of, quote, how to be a man.
Oh.
But you know what? I agree with her. I agree with her on the fundamental point of the military offers discipline. The military offers a lot of stuff, right? I'm a proud daughter of a Coast Guard veteran, and
Right.
I have a lot of respect for the women and men that serve in our military forces. The military teaches skills, it educates, it provides resources, it provides opportunities to its members. Thousands of military personnel gain countless benefits, personally, professionally, from having served. But there are the unfortunate few that don't join the military for the right reasons.
Yeah. Just kind of the whole mentality of like you're going to learn how to be a man. You know what I mean? Like these things that aren't manly,
Yeah.
that are just kind of inherent in like certain people, to tell them that that's wrong, they need to toughen up and be a man, is just such a weird,
Yeah.
like you're not good
Instead of
enough.
acknowledging what's going on and getting to the root of it and like dissecting it and figuring it out to resolve it.
Or things like being sensitive and compassionate and empathetic, like those aren't weaknesses, those are
No.
things that should be celebrated, but to some people they make you a weak man, and it's just like, no.
Yeah. We're also dealing with a very different culture
Oh, for
with
sure.
different
Yeah.
expectations. According to a May 22nd, 2024 Fox 5 KUSI news article written by Zara Barker, Ali recounted how, as the eldest son in a Middle Eastern household. There was a lot of expectation levied on him by his father.
That's so sad.
He was recounting how he could never make his dad happy. There was
Right.
always something he was doing wrong. He was afraid of his dad before he even knew what being afraid was. He felt that feeling before he was able to logically explain to himself what that feeling was.
Right. Yeah.
Quote, everything was an overreaction, violent, and explosive. So, this is what Ali said on the stand about Nassar, his father. He said he would sit on the couch with his siblings. At the time, it was just Zanub and Sammy. Shireen hadn't been born yet. And he would watch his father and mother fight, and they would like chase each other around the house, physically and verbally assaulting each other. More
God.
Nassar assaulting Dalal.
Yeah.
And Ali talked about how he would, quote, have my little sister in one arm, my brother in the other arm, and we would just cry seeing them.
Mm. So there wasn't ever like a day of peace or just not walking on eggshells, feeling uneasy.
Yeah.
Probably ever in that
Yeah.
household. Ugh.
I mean, it's clear that the Abulaban family is highly dysfunctional.
Hmm.
There's a lot of toxic behavior going on, a lot of physical and verbal abuse. I mean, we've got Nassar, mean, controlling, abusive father, viewed as leader of the house, the king. We've got Sweet Dalal. She's the abused in this relationship with Nassar. She's submissive to her husband. She puts up with all of that shit. And then we've got 4 children, 2 of which, meaning Ali and his brother Sammy, are clearly struggling with staying on the right path.
Yeah.
I was on the hunt for the court transcripts for Allie's trial. I was like, ooh, give me some court transcripts. They're not released yet. At least they weren't as the time when I finished this storyboard. But I was able to find some public records, just general public records for Ali and his immediate family members.
Okay.
What I learned was Zanub and Shireen, Allie's sisters, they have a fucking lead foot. These girls have a big problem with speeding. Zanub more than Shireen. Zanub has paid some hefty speeding tickets over the years. We're talking like hundreds of dollars. I don't
That's
know
fair.
how, yeah, like I'm just
I
like,
mean,
girl has like she is in a hurry.
slow down.
Yeah. Sammy, however, Allie's brother, has more concerning activity in his file. He's 28 right now. That's how old he is. Still very young, but his rap sheet is already like longer than my arm.
Uh,
His charges range from unlawful possession of a weapon, specifically a handgun, criminal mischief, tampering with property, vandalism, damage to a property, shooting or throwing something at a train, car, or vessel. In the court records, they actually call it a missile. So, shooting or throwing a missile at a train, car, or vessel.
what the
Larceny of
fuck?
fire. I know. I was
What
like,
is he fucking doing?
I
God
just had this mental
damn.
image of him with the fucking thing over his, like a
A rocket
bazooka gun,
launcher?
yeah,
Yeah, just
over his arm.
some conductor on a train is like, oh shit! Ah! And there's like a fucking rocket coming at him.
Yeah, but they call it a missile. Using a firearm in the commission of a felony, malice shooting or throwing at a car or vessel, and speeding.
Fuck, he just
Yeah,
likes to launch stuff at
he is a fan. He's a fan.
transportation.
He's a fan of
Fuck.
causing mischief and mayhem. He also likes
With
guns
missiles.
with
It's crazy.
missiles. Mischief and mayhem with missiles.
That's his autobiography.
I love the title of his autobiography.
Yeah.
I was surprised to see that Ali's father, Nassar, has a pretty clean record. He just has a few traffic violations. That's it. There's nothing else on there, which means Dalal has never called the police on him. She's never filed anything on him.
They just speed to get places and then park shitty.
Yeah. As suspected, Dalal is squeaky clean. It came out in Ali's trial that in 2020, Dalal finally decided to leave Nassar.
Wow.
And around that same time, Allie's brother, Sammy, suffered from a mental health breakdown, an episode, and he was incarcerated.
Shit. I mean, it sounds like it probably was a
Yeah,
good
if
thing.
if you review Sammy's public records, the dates of his arrests and like his charges lines up with the escalation of this mental health breakdown that he had.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, you can see if you
Mm.
put two and two together and like I'm thinking like this big map with the string on it. If you tie
Yeah.
everything together, you can see the escalation.
Gotcha. Hmm.
So that's a little bit about Allie's childhood, his family, the type of environment he grew up in, how he learned to behave and act. Now, Anna enters the picture when Allie was deployed to Kadena Air Base in Okinawa, Japan.
Wow.
So
Okay.
he's in the Air Force, he's deployed to Okinawa, he's working as a police officer. Anna, who was born in June 1993, so we're talking these are babies. She was born
Yeah.
in the Philippines and she grew up in Japan,
Hmm. Okay.
actually, because her stepfather was stationed there. And that's where they met. Allie and Anna met in Okinawa. At the time, Anna worked at a bar called Chaos, but she and Allie had actually met when Anna attempted to drive onto the Kadena Air Base. Allie was working at the entry gate as a police officer and saw that her identification card had expired. So he asked her to pull over and he ended up giving her a ticket, but he wrote his phone number on the ticket.
Smooth.
So, and they began talking by phone. I guess she called him. And then they escalated to Skype or Skype. So they were
Those
Skyping.
dogs.
And they were doing this. They did this for a couple of months before they actually went on their first date.
Okay.
So it's not like they rushed into anything.
Yeah.
In October of 2015, however, Allie was dishonorably discharged from the Air
Ugh.
Force. He will tell you it wasn't a dishonorable discharge, but it wasn't an honorable discharge. Well, there's only two types of discharge. It was dishonorable. So
Okay.
he was discharged from the Air Force and he moved back to the United States. He moved back to Bristow, Virginia, and he moved back in with his parents. I used to live in Bristow.
Did you?
Yeah, I lived in Bristow many years ago, so I'm very familiar with that area. It's very nice. It's right
Hmm.
outside of Washington, D.C.
Were you a kid or an adult?
Adult.
Okay.
Yep,
Just for my own curiosity.
I was an adult. Some sources say Allie's discharge from the Air Force was due to getting into a brawl. Others say it was because of a domestic violence incident in which he had hit Anna.
Oh.
What Allie says is that he and Anna were at the bar Chaos and there was a foam party. Remember when
Oh
foam parties
God.
were like a big so there was a foam
Yeah.
party and he was really really drunk and he was sitting at the bar and he had his head down on the bar and the bartender was like, "Hey man, you got to go. You're drunk, you need to leave."
You're not enjoying the foam. Get out.
Yeah, so then they were walking out, they being Allie and Anna, and as they were walking out, he slipped on the foam because it's soap, let's be real, and it's
Yeah.
slippery. And he went down and he took Anna with him because Anna had her arm around him and she to like help him walk. And someone said, "Oh my gosh, he just hit her." And then a brawl ensued with like more than half a dozen guys. Somehow Anna got involved in the brawl and some other guy punched her.
Holy shit. Okay.
So this is the story that Allie gives as to why he was discharged from the Air Force. So that happened in October 2015
Okay.
and due to this foam fiasco, he got discharged from the military. I
Okay.
love alliteration. Now that same month, Anna found out she was pregnant.
Ah.
At the
Yikes.
time, Anna was in Japan on a tourist visa because, like I said, her stepdad was a contractor in the Navy and they were stationed at the Kadena Air Base in Okinawa. But now that Allie was no longer in the Air Force, he and Anna decided to move to the Philippines to be near Anna's family. She's pregnant. There's no reason for them to stay there. They want to be together. Toward the end of 2015, when Anna was a couple of months pregnant, she dropped the bombshell on Allie that she was married.
What the fuck?
She was married to a guy named Sean Torres.
Who the fuck is Sean?
Yeah. Naturally, Allie was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, we're living together now. I'm with your family in the Philippines. You're carrying my baby and you're married?
Yeah.
Okay. She told Allie that Torres was also in the military, stationed at Kadena Air Force Base. and that he got kicked out of the military. She didn't say why, but that he moved back to the United States with the intent of getting her a visa to come join him. But he ended up piecing out and hooking up with an ex girlfriend and basically ghosted Anna.
Hmm.
That's what she told Allie. And Allie's like, well, you're carrying my baby, so we're going to have to figure this out. Well, in early 2016, so Anna's, I don't know, 3 months pregnant by this time, maybe, Allie decides to go back to the United States, specifically to Virginia, move back in with his parents, and work to save up the money to get a visa for Anna to join him in the US. And Anna remained in the Philippines. And when she went into labor, Allie flew to the Philippines so that he could be present for the birth of their daughter. So they had a little girl. In January, and then he flew back to the US. She stayed in the Philippines with their baby daughter. And in January of 2017, after a roughly 9-month process, Anna's visa was finally approved, which in 16 was when Trump was elected president, right? 16 to 20, and then Biden was
Yeah.
20 to
24,
now.
yeah.
Yeah. So when Trump got into office, he fucking blew up all of the immigration shit in the United States. So
Hmm.
I'm surprised that it only took 9 months and that she was actually able to get a visa.
Right, yeah. Everything basically shut down.
Yeah. So when the visa was approved, she and their daughter flew to Virginia and moved in with Allie at Allie's parents' house.
Okay.
And that's where they stayed until things began to get a little unstable between Allie and his father, Nassar.
Okay.
And so they ended up moving out and they got themselves a small townhouse that they were able to put. Townhomes are very popular in Virginia,
Hmm.
basically row houses.
Yeah, yeah.
And by now, both Allie and Anna were working at an IT company. They were making decent money. And by 2019, Allie had created his persona on TikTok as JinnKid and had become basically, in his words, an instant overnight success.
JinnKid?
Yes, and I'm going to talk more about that.
Okay.
In 2020, Anna convinced Allie to move to San Diego. So she had gone and visited one of her friends. Like she had a girls' trip. And
Okay.
when she came back, she was like, oh my God, we have to move to San Diego. And Anna, girl, preach. Because if I could live anywhere, it would be San Diego.
Really?
Anywhere in the US, it would be San Diego. Chef's kiss. Anyway, so she's like, Allie, we need to move to San Diego. She wanted to be closer to her friends. She had some besties that lived there. She wanted to be closer to her friends. And all Allie wanted was to be famous. And so she was like, you could be closer to Hollywood.
Right?
According to Allie, Anna told him that if they didn't move to San Diego, she was going to divorce his ass.
Mm.
So he felt like he didn't really have a choice.
Yeah.
Who knows if this is true or not, but they did move and they moved into a 35th floor luxury apartment in the East Village.
Damn.
Imagine the views.
Yeah.
Oh my
Fuck.
gosh. This was when Allie was introduced to cocaine.
Ah.
So now we're going to throw drugs into the mix. By this time, their marriage was just a goddamn disaster. I mean, they were quarreling, they were physically and verbally assaulting each other. They were like just having cocaine and alcohol fueled arguments. It was just an absolute disaster. Mind you, they have what is now this time, a 4-year old in the
Oh my
house.
God. Daddy, your nose is bleeding.
Mhm. And of course, by now, Allie had a full fledged cocaine addiction. He basically used it to survive, to get through the day.
Not good.
And he had also established quite the social media following. He had grown his TikTok account alone to almost 1 million followers under the handle JinnKid, like I mentioned.
How did he do it? Because we need some tips.
Okay, well, what he did was something we're not going to do. So he did skits and impersonations of characters in violent movies. So one of his favorites was Tony Montana in the film Scarface, who was played by Al Pacino.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he would do those skits and he would like impersonate them. He also did a ton of videos on the video game Skyrim, Skyrim, Skyrim.
Yeah.
And Anna was his sidekick. She would often film him or she would star in his videos with him. She didn't particularly want to be in front of the camera, but she was fine like being behind the scenes and setting up lighting and holding the phone or whatever. But um yeah, so she fully supported what he was doing, and he would upload videos of him and Anna sometimes doing something cute and fun and innocent. There's a video out there that shows them just like holding hands and swinging around. You know how you're like you go around
Mhm.
and around in a circle, but you're holding hands and they're like
Yeah.
laughing, and it looks like they're in their living room, and it's just they're having a lovely time. And I mean,
Well, that's what we do when we're out.
of course, I'm always swinging you around.
Yeah, it's so
Mm.
cute.
But there were also videos that were of them fighting
Mm.
that he uploaded, or there he uploaded videos that showcased him just verbally annihilating Anna. Yeah,
Why?
attention. Oh, I mean, we all love drama, right? It's like a train wreck we can't turn away from. It sells. I tried to find his TikTok account, but there are a lot of other accounts out there that have reposted some of his videos,
Mm,
but it was hard for me to wade through trying to find his exact account.
gotcha. Yeah.
Um so I wasn't able to find it. I'm sure it's out there unless TikTok has taken it down or he's taken it down. I don't know, but back to his handle, JinnKid. So Arya, my friend who recommended this case, he helped me understand that there's meaning behind the word Jinn that Ali uses in his handle name, and
Okay.
it's spelled Jinn.
Okay. I was
J,
thinking
not
GIN,
gin, yeah, not gin and tonic,
the horrible alcohol. Ugh.
mm-mm, but Jinn, Jinn. Now, this was my absolute first exposure to the Quran and Islamic belief. So I'm actually going to take us down a rabbit hole for the first time in many, many episodes.
Let's
And
go.
ungodly high level, pardon the pun, explain what jinn is.
Okay.
Ungodly was the pun.
I got
Because,
it.
yeah, okay. For those of you who aren't familiar with Islamic belief, the Quran, jinn, you'll probably find this as fascinating as I do. According to an article published in August 2005 in the Journal of the Royal Society of Medicine, and further published on the United States National Institute of Health's government website, in Islamic belief, jinn are, quote, real creatures that form a world other than that of mankind, capable of causing physical and mental harm to human beings. For example, possession.
Oh, okay.
The belief of possession is that something not human, so think like a spirit or a force, has entered the human and then takes control of that human. And this possession can be as complete as a true, legitimate 100% possession where the human is fully controlled by the non human force, or as mild as a clouded consciousness, changed demeanor and tone of voice, and subsequent amnesia. So there's a spectrum of possession.
Right. Yeah.
Arya shared with me that jinn in the Quran are creatures that are believed to have fully submitted to Satan.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Now, he said that jinn are believed to be very magical and powerful creatures that are still under God's control, even though they've submitted to Satan. In the Quran, it is said that Solomon was granted control over the jinn Boo god, and in return, the jinn granted him magical powers. More specifically, a passage in the Quran describes how the Prophet Solomon had contrived to subjugate the jinn and get them to perform tasks that required strength, intelligence, and skill. So, genies, like the one from the movie Aladdin, come
Hmm.
from jinn.
Okay.
I also learned that even though jinn can cause physical and mental harm to humans, like I said, they are not considered demons in Islamic lore. While jinn can see humans, we cannot see jinn.
Okay.
We're not capable of seeing them, but they are supposed to have the shape of like thin and subtle bodies. So, of like whatever form they take, it's like thin and subtle, if you will. And interestingly, they can change at will. It is believed jinn favors the form of a snake, which I found very interesting if you think about the story of Adam and Eve in Christianity,
Hmm.
but can also choose to appear as scorpions, lizards, or even as humans.
Wow. Okay.
Like humans, jinn are held accountable for their behaviors. and actions and can be believers of the Muslim faith or disbelievers, known as, I believe it's pronounced kafir,
Hmm.
Kafir, kafir. This is all based on whether they follow God's guidance. At the onset, jinn are neither innately good nor evil. Since they are subject to free will like humans, it is up to jinn to determine which path they want to follow, just like humans.
Hmm. Okay.
I don't think a human is born innately good or evil. I actually do I believe that? I don't know if I believe that.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I think it's kind of a blank slate, but you also, your genetics are your genetics.
Yeah, you're getting back to that nature versus nurture argument.
Yeah, you already have some building blocks right
You got to
there.
have something in there for you to, well,
Yeah, it's hard to, that's a, ooh,
jinn that become evil are the ones that are believed to have fully submitted to Satan. Satan is also believed to be a kind of jinn.
oh,
Absolutely fucking fascinating, this stuff.
yeah,
So that's a little bit about jinn and what they are, which makes me think, what was Allie's motivation for using the handle JinnKid?
right.
I don't know if he was thinking he was clever or if he was trying to be like, I don't know. Anyway, so back to the case. So by September 2021, Allie and Anna, they're living in San Diego. Their daughter is 5 now. Their relationship had escalated to being way more worse than it was good, and it was continuing to decline. It was just imploding. They had been married for several years, and the constant marital strife by then just became too much for Anna. She was like, "Look, I can't do this anymore. It's toxic, it's unhealthy. We can't even be in the same room together without fighting and arguing and hitting each other." So,
Yeah, and their little girl's watching every second of it.
yep, she's exposed to every second of it, which is
Ugh.
exactly how Allie was raised.
Yeah, yeah.
So, she told Allie she had had enough and she kicked him out of the apartment that they shared, that luxury 35th floor apartment. She also filed a police report for the first time.
Wow.
So now
Okay.
this report's on file. By this point, it seemed like Allie had almost become uber fucking paranoid over how Anna spent her time, who she was with, what she was talking about, where she went, all of the things. Like he
Hmm.
was literally like he was obsessed. He was obsessed. He was highly jealous, and he had this like what I would call like a sense of entitlement to control Anna. Do you know what I
Mm.
mean? Which
Yeah,
might come
yeah.
from the way he was raised,
Oh, I'm
maybe the Middle
sure.
Eastern culture. I don't know.
Yeah.
His addiction to cocaine didn't help.
Hmm.
It didn't help. A few weeks after Anna kicked him out of their apartment, on October 21st, 2021, Allie snuck back in using his own key and he installed a listening device on their daughter's iPad
What the
because he's
fuck?
like, I want to know what she's saying. I want to know what she's doing, who she's doing it with, etc.
Hmm.
He then hid his daughter's iPad behind the headboard of the bed that he used to share with Anna. His jealousy, his constant thoughts of Anna betraying him with another man, that was basically all he saw, felt, heard. That was it. That was his singular line of focus. And it was this lens through which he was viewing his relationship with Anna, meaning like he wasn't stopping to think about anything logically. These feelings were crowding out any thread of logical thought Allie might have had.
Mm-hmm.
So he basically had escalated to the point where his emotions were just, they were in control.
Right.
And when he was in the apartment installing that listening device on his daughter's iPad, he trashed the fucking place. He just trashed it. He just wrecked it. He was just like, yeah, that's right. I'm in here and I can do whatever I want whenever I want.
Ugh.
So later that same day, October 21st, 2021, when he had installed the listening device, Allie was obsessively listening to it to see when she came home, who she might be with, what she might be talking about. And he finally heard something. He heard voices. He heard what he identified as Anna's voice and then a man's voice. And he couldn't quite make it out, but he was like, as soon as he heard that, and he heard the voices, he finally figured out who the man was. And it was a guy named Rayburn Barron who Allie had met with Anna with a group of friends out at the bar, chaos. And Allie would later recount that he tried to be friends with Rayburn, but Rayburn had no interest in being friends with Allie. This is what Allie says.
Okay.
When he realized it was Rayburn in the apartment and he and Anna were talking about something that was like unimportant, but they were like having a great conversation and they were laughing and giggling and they were just having a good time. Allie lost his fucking shit. So he grabbed his handy dandy 9mm handgun he just happened to have. He drove over to the apartment. He let himself in and he confronted Anna and Ray and he shot them both.
Holy shit.
He shot Ray first 3 times.
Fuck.
Can you imagine what Anna was thinking?
No.
She was already afraid of Allie. She's sitting on the couch with Rayburn, having a nice afternoon conversation. Then all of a sudden, the door comes busting open. Her estranged husband is standing in the doorway with a goddamn gun pointed at them. And then he shoots 3 times. Rayburn slumps over, bloody and dead.
Mm.
And she's sitting next to him. Can you? I just, anyway. He was screaming at Anna this whole time, like screaming at her, "How could you do this to me? How could you betray me? How could you do this to our daughter?" I don't know how anybody could process something like that. But then Allie immediately turned the gun on Anna, still screaming at her that she had betrayed him. And he shot her in the fucking head. She must have been so goddamn scared.
I can't even imagine.
Mm. Now, thankfully, their daughter was not home
Oh, good. Okay.
during the shootings. She was actually at school. After Allie had shot and killed Anna and Ray, he like called his mother Dalal and told her, "I just shot Anna. I just killed her. She's dead."
Whoa.
And there's actually video. If you look this guy up and you just kind of go down some rabbit holes, you'll see video of a hallway in the apartment building. You don't see him, but you hear him, and there's subtitles. And it's the conversation that he had with his mother
Oh,
after he
shit.
shot and killed Anna and Ray. And he's like confessing the whole thing to her, and you can hear her. You can hear her voice coming through the phone, but you can't really hear most of what she says. But she was like, "What are you like?" Having a hard time to processing the whole thing. So
Yeah.
he went in back into the apartment and he took a picture of Anna and Ray's bodies and he sent the picture to his mother as proof.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Then, after the phone conversation with his mother, he went and picked their daughter up from school and told her that he had hurt mommy.
Wow.
During Ali's trial, which started on May 1st of this year, a lot came out about the abusive relationship he had with Anna because he actually testified in his own defense. According to a May 22nd, 2024 Court TV article written by Lauren Silver, during one line of questioning by his lawyer regarding his discharge from the Air Force and if that was due to him striking Anna when they were at a bar, his lawyer asked him if he had ever assaulted Anna. Ali responded, "I would never do that in public. I don't mean that's something I condone. I just mean they did not witness anything." They being the people at the bar that said that they saw Ali hit Anna.
Right.
He's like, "I only hit her in the privacy of my own home." He didn't actually say that, but that's what he was getting at.
Right.
Like
Or
he
when I
did,
put it on TikTok.
right. He did admit to physically abusing Anna on other occasions, though. He did admit to that. One such occasion was when he was suspicious of Anna flirting with another man by sending racy photos and texts. He thought she was sending nude photos and texts to this guy. He went through her phone and saw a text exchange with this man, and he and Anna got into a fight about it, and they were arguing, and Ali said, quote, "I snapped. I rolled on top of Anna and I began punching her." He
Shit.
admitted to punching Anna several times in the face. In the face. I
Oh my
can't
God.
even. Another occasion was actually captured by Ali on his phone because he recorded it. And this was played for the jury during his trial. So the jury got to see all of this. The jury saw Ali and Anna arguing, could hear the argument escalating, could hear and see it, and watched it reach a fevered pitch when Ali pushed Anna forcefully, who fell and hit her head on the end of the bed. Yeah. So
Damn.
she got a pretty good injury there. And Ali admitted on the stand when he was testifying that they were both high on cocaine and drunk when that argument occurred.
Great.
It's just a shitstorm.
Yeah. or a snowstorm, if you know what I mean.
Yep. When the
Blizzard.
questioning centered around the murders, Ali admitted that when he heard Anna and some guy talking and laughing in their apartment, he lost his mind. According to the Court TV article by Lauren Silver, Ali said he did some cocaine, grabbed his gun, hopped in his car, and drove over to the apartment, doing more cocaine in the car on the drive over.
Ah,
He testified, quote, "It's probably the most coke I've ever done."
cool. Safe.
It's totally safe. When he detailed what happened when he walked into the apartment, he said, quote, "When I saw that it was him, I couldn't take it. I couldn't take the fucking betrayal. I couldn't believe she could do that to me, to our daughter. And before I could stop myself, I just fucking snapped. And my gun was in my hand. And the next thing I'm shooting and I can't stop. I'm shooting. I'm just shooting. I'm even startled. It's like I'm watching it happen, like I'm in the passenger seat of my own body."
Hmm.
What I found quite interesting that came out at trial was when Allie's former boss, Clifford Ganai, when Clifford Ganai testified. In a May 2024 Fox 5 KUSI news article written by Zara Barker, Ganai was Allie's boss in the IT department as a network engineer at the Naval Air Station North Island in Coronado. With that job, Allie actually held a secret clearance. So it was kind of a big deal job. He had started working for Ganai in March of 2021, 7 months before the shootings.
Okay.
From March to the beginning of July, Ganai said everything was good. Allie's work performance was good. There was nothing odd about his behavior. All was well. He was just a normal employee. Starting in July, Ganai recounted about the times Allie would just not show up for work or he wouldn't work his full days. There started to become an absenteeism problem.
Mm,
And that's when Allie asked for short term disability. So that leave started in July and it lasted into September of 2021. When he returned to work in September, everything was back to normal, but only for a very short time. It wasn't long before Allie reverted back to skipping work, coming in late, leaving early, just odd behavior.
hmm.
Tuesday, October 19th, 2021, 2 days before the shootings, was the last time Allie went to work.
Oh, okay.
On this day, Ganai told Allie that he needed to be at work every day, all day, going forward, or he would have to report that Allie was back to his old antics. Wednesday, October 20th, 2021, 1 day before the shootings, Allie did not show up for work.
Wow.
Ganai reported this to the powers that be, and the plan was to terminate Allie's employment.
Wow.
So obviously there was escalation.
Big time. Yeah.
On May 24th of this year, Allie was convicted of 2 counts of first degree murder. The jury had to determine if Allie was guilty of first degree murder, second degree murder, or voluntary manslaughter. Being acquitted wasn't an option because Allie had confessed and admitted that he did, in fact, shoot both Anna and Rayburn.
Okay.
So he was going to get something. It was just a matter of what. So quick, I was like, okay, wait, remind me what's first degree versus second degree versus voluntary. So just a quick explanation on these, at least in the United States legal system. First degree murder means the person intended to kill someone. They
Hmm.
planned it out. It's premeditated. They had this plan and then they executed the plan. Second degree murder means the person didn't plan ahead, but when the time came, their intention was to kill the person. So there wasn't a premeditation. They didn't like spend time planning it, but their intention when they got into the situation was that they were going to kill this person.
Right.
And then they executed on that. Voluntary manslaughter means the person never intended to kill. There was no thought of killing, no planning to kill. It just happened in the heat of the moment. Well, the jury believed he had premeditated the shootings. So they convicted him of 2 counts of first degree murder. There is video you can find online that shows Allie's response to his conviction. And you could see him yelling at the judge and arguing with him that he was pushed to kill Anna and Rayburn because of Anna's infidelity. Basically, it wasn't his fault, it was Anna's fault.
Yeah.
While Allie was in jail during his trial, in an interview with journalist Kelsey Christensen, he claimed that the shootings were the fault of social media ruining him, saying, quote, "It messed with my brain. It made me violent. It made me like aggressive."
Well, he wanted to be famous, right?
He did, actually.
Dumb
He had made
fucker.
comments that he was worried that this trial would ruin his, quote, "celebrity status" on social media.
Oh my god.
When he is sentenced, the judge will be the one that determines what his sentence will be, not the jury. On the GoFundMe page that Ray's family set up to cover his funeral and celebration of life costs, they wrote of Ray, quote, "Rayburn dedicated his life to always putting his family first. In many ways, he was the glue to his family, always reaching out to family to bring everyone closer. He was a loyal friend who you could always count on to be there in a time of need. Ray made an impact on so many lives with his love and thoughtful acts. We are absolutely devastated by Rayburn's sudden passing, and we were not prepared for the high costs and transfer to Mexico. We want to give Rayburn the memorial he deserves to honor his memory and say our last goodbyes."
Mhm.
Anna was cremated, and through a GoFundMe campaign her family put on, funds were raised to send Anna back to the Philippines to be reunited with her family and to place her in her forever resting place. Her family wrote in part, quote, "We, the family of Anna Maria Bulaban, are grateful for the outpouring of emotion and the generosity given as we navigate how to bring her mother from the Philippines so that she may escort Anna Marie back to her childhood home.
Mm.
As we reel from the pain of this senseless tragedy, we are thankful for the kindness from both those that knew her and from compassionate strangers."
So, two questions, if you'll allow them.
Of course.
Did he turn himself into police, or what was the situation with the bodies being discovered and him being arrested? Like, how did that
I couldn't find anything.
really?
Mhm. I don't think he turned himself in.
Okay. I wasn't
Yeah,
sure if there was any information on how they were discovered or if he
I
turned
wasn't
himself
able
in.
to find anything.
Wow.
That's why I wanted the court transcripts.
Right? Second question was what happened to their daughter? Do you know?
I do not know.
Okay.
Actually, in one source, the daughter is living with her family in the Philippines,
Okay.
but I wasn't able to corroborate that with multiple other sources. But I would like to believe that that's true
Me too.
because I don't think I would want her. I mean, Nassar and Dalal are divorced now, and I just I think there's a lot of toxicity there, and
Yeah.
given that this child's father murdered her mother,
Yeah. I imagine she's going to
yeah,
have a lot more stability in the Philippines for
yeah,
sure. So,
yeah, good questions. Yeah, no, I wasn't able to find anything on how the bodies were discovered, how he was arrested, when. I'm deducing that it wasn't long after. And I don't think Dalal called the police. I'm pretty sure she didn't call the police
hmm.
after her son called her and
Wow.
confessed. Mm.
Oof.
What's cool is that on Tuesday, June 25th, so again, we're recording, it's Saturday, June 22nd. This coming Tuesday, the 25th, Peacock is airing a documentary about this case called TikTok Star Murders.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I'm really interested in watching it. Apparently, it has a lot of the videos
Mm.
that Ali uploaded,
Oh,
or
cool. Okay.
alternatively that were on his phone
Gotcha. All
that the
right.
police had access to.
Interesting.
Um, as I was reading about this, the one thing that the documentary doesn't really touch on is the cultural differences between the Philippines and Middle Eastern culture, and kind of where Anna was versus where Allie was in relation to those cultures, and how a
Right.
man and a woman in a relationship or in a household should behave and react to each other. So that's unfortunate. But
Hmm.
if you or anyone that you know is experiencing domestic violence, call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233, or you can go to thehotline.org and send an email. All calls are toll free, all calls are confidential. That hotline is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it is available in more than 170 languages.
Nice. Nice.
So there are ways to get help.
Yeah.
So, and that is the JinnKid, aka Ali Abulaban TikTok star murders
Hmm.
case. Yeah.
Interesting.
Aria, thank you very much for suggesting the case. Very timely, given that his trial just concluded and he was convicted. I struggled. I thought maybe waiting until after the Peacock documentary and after his sentencing, but I decided not to wait because one, I don't know how great that Peacock. No, Carrie, no, get your shit together. Peacock, cock.
Should roll right off your tongue.
Um, I don't know how good the documentary is going to be, so I didn't want to like hinge a lot on that. And then the other thing is that it could be very likely that his sentencing gets delayed. So I was
Right,
like,
for
no,
sure.
I'm going to put this out just because his conviction just happened. So
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and my hope is that with their daughter hopefully being in a healthier, safer situation, that the generations of abuse against women and just kind of the fucked up environments that generations of children were growing up in and how that ultimately determined their behavior as adults. Hopefully that cycle ends with their daughter and kind of cuts that just generational abuse. Because I mean, the household that Allie grew up in and how it had to have affected how he treated his wife, and she was witnessing that, her dad and her mom fighting all the time, and hopefully she's young enough that being in a new environment creates a whole different future for her.
Yeah. Hopefully, because she was so young, as she gets older, she will lose those memories.
Mm-hmm.
My worry for her, though, is that that seeded generational trauma will still be there.
I
And she
know.
may not understand why as she gets into her teen and adult years.
Yeah.
And I hope that she's in a position where she can work that out. Or maybe she has a personality where it won't negatively
Right.
impact her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
She
So
was
sad.
she's roughly 8 now.
Yeah.
So she's still very young.
Right.
And she's
Mm.
lost both her parents. It's just a damn shame.
Yeah. That's awful.
Poor Rayburn was just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Just being a friend.
Yeah, I mean, some sources said that they had a relationship beyond friendship. Some sources say that there wasn't any proof of that. I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't because, quite frankly, Anna had ended the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
When she kicked him out, she kicked him out for good. She was like, "I can't do this anymore. We're done.
Yeah.
We're over.
Yeah.
You need to leave."
Yikes.
Yeah. And as always, please rate, review, subscribe. Anywhere you get your podcasts. We're also on YouTube, music and YouTube. You can subscribe there. Any support that way, we massively appreciate.
Yep. And please continue to share with other true crime fans, friends, family. We appreciate that as well. So thank you guys for listening.
And I am out of bourbon. So, on that note, goodbye, Jamie.
Goodbye, Carrie. Night night. You got the whooping cough?
Maybe.
Did he hear you?
No.
We're doing it.
Yeah, I think you just needed to reboot.
Probably so.
That's a great tip. Thank you.
Bam.
So, wait.
Well, then what the fuck was it?
Goddamn divine.